Folks, welcome to the Texas Music Lifestyle Podcast. It has been an exciting week. This is actually episode 5, and so, yeah, we're still kind of getting things figured out, but we're having a great time. We're getting great response, so thank you for tuning in. The biggest thing we've got going on today is we've got a guest co-host here, my friend Stephen Castillo. He did such a great job when we interviewed him last week. Had a lot of people say he did so great, and I was talking to Eric and Phoebe and Gio, and we were like, man, he would be a great guest host. Well, lo and behold, Eric is out on some business stuff he had to do yesterday and today. So Steven's filling in, man.
It's great to be back.
Thanks for coming back out here and hanging out with me.
I feel like I'm on Letterman.
Well, maybe. But no, we're glad to have you here. And also, we've got my buddy Tanner Burch is here, and we're going to interview him here in a little bit and find out a little bit about what's going on Broadway in Nashville, and what is it like being a working musician in Nashville? Because obviously we've got our Texas music lifestyle down here with working musicians such as myself and Steven, but these are like our brothers from up in Nashville. They're working hard as well up there, so we're going to maybe see what the parallels are and get to know him a little bit. So we're looking forward to that, but let's go ahead and jump on into it. It has been a crazy last week. We are doing this on a Tuesday. We're normally a Monday podcast, but I had a lot going on. Eric was out of town. The producers were out of town all weekend doing some other shows, so we pushed it back to today, which has kind of thrown me off because I feel like it's Monday. But I got to be careful because I got the Spoke tonight on Tuesday.
You got to work tonight.
I'm in a Monday mindset, which is a completely F-off mindset. And like I'm ready to start drinking beer and barbecuing like I do on my Mondays. But I got to remember, I got to behave and go to the Spoke tonight.
Yeah, no, you got to be a good boy this afternoon.
Well, this is kind of cool because, you know, you were here last week. We interviewed you. The audience got a chance to learn a little bit about you. So and you're co-hosting now. And I think you'll see a lot more of Steven on the show because he does such a great job. But what was going on in Steven Castillo's music lifestyle last week?
Yeah. Well, I think I did quite a few like country music things over the last week. Yeah. Like I played a gig at the Austin Rodeo, which was amazing.
It's pretty awesome.
Had 3 years in a row, which is pretty cool. I didn't think that I would ever really see that day.
They put on a great, that rodeo it's all nonprofit.
Yes.
And they do a great job, and they raise money for like FFA and stuff like that. So it's a real neat job. I got some friends that are very involved in that, and they volunteer their time the whole 2 weeks of the rodeo.
Right. I was going to say there's quite a few volunteers that pitch in out there. Right?
What stage did y'all play on?
The really hot, sunny outdoor one.
Dude, I played that one a few times. It's like they put it so the sun shines right in your face.
It's right there.
And
hot.
And you're like ready to get off that stage. Like
it was great.
Quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Yeah. So I played the rodeo, and I, had to discipline the teenager, and I had to,
the life of being a father with a 14-year-old.
It's all just the working class stuff, normal everyday working class stuff. I should write a song about all that.
Goodness gracious. Well, I tell you what, it was
you were at Partners this weekend, I heard.
No, we didn't do Partners. We had we got done, we did our Tuesday, and then I went out to Lano for a couple days.
Sundown.
I went out there Sunday, but I went out to Lano also Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday and cut firewood and drove around and just did some upkeep around the ranch. And Saturday, I played somewhere Saturday. Oh, Mercer Dance Hall Saturday.
Okay.
So that was, it was all right. We had a good time. Always, that's like a home base for me. It's like right down the road. I mean, it's literally 10 minutes from here. So it was good. And then I went back out to Lano on Sunday because we played that Honky Tonks Sundown bar.
I still haven't been there.
It's really neat. Yeah. I've known the owners for like 15 years or something like that, and they used to live here in Austin area.
Okay.
And were very big into the music scene here. I mean, they went to all the Continental Clubs, Spoke, Little Longhorn, all the time. They were always dancers and stuff like that. And then about a few years back, they just decided to up and move out of Austin and go to Lano, and then open up a bar that just opened up a year ago. And they keep it's neat, man. It's like 1960s honky tonk vibe. It's real cool. Kind of got like kind of an ice house feel to it, but it's way out in Lano, so it's neat. But and I still haven't figured out if they want me to call it the Sundown Bar or just Sundown. And I meant to ask them that.
Yeah, have you heard? You haven't heard what they call it?
No, I guess they call it. I guess I could look on their socials and actually pay attention to things in my life. But great
Well,
people. The bar was awesome. It was packed. We did chicken shit bingo. They're
oh
doing
yeah.
that the last Sunday of every month. They're doing a chicken shit bingo out there, which is actually catching on out there in Lano. People are enjoying it.
I
So
was gonna say, I bet something like that in that community probably
yeah,
draws
man.
the folks in.
And so it's coming together for them out there, and it was a lot of fun. Matter of fact, our guest Tanner Burch, who is here, and he's going to come on here in a few minutes, played out there Friday.
Oh great.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we were
Man.
sitting around and bullshitting, and everybody was talking about him and how much they loved his music.
Well,
So
I need to get out there
yeah,
and
you
go see
do.
this place.
You need to
Load
go
up the
play out
truck.
there.
Load up the truck and get
Why
out
don't
there
you
and
go
go.
play?
That would be great.
Well, we'll
Yeah.
get you hooked up.
All right. That'd be awesome. Yeah.
You would love it. I mean, it's
I
right up
would.
your alleyway.
I believe I would.
So
Yeah.
that was cool. Did that, got back, and what did I do yesterday? Oh, I did my typical Monday stuff: play catch up,
Barbecue, drink beer.
fire up the grill, and drink some beer. Yeah,
Yeah. Attaboy.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now we can't do this on Tuesday anymore. I got to be out here for beer and barbecue, man, on Mondays.
Yeah.
Next time
We'll
my
start-
rider is going to be beer and barbecue.
Beer
as
and
well
barbecue
this Monday.
after
Yeah.
the podcast. But yeah, man, we've other than that, I've just been man, I tell you what, I'm like the maintenance grounds guy around this place. And it is March is like when all the live oak leaves fall.
Mm-hmm.
So like literally I spend a major portion of my life raking leaves, blowing leaves
Yeah.
off of everything. I cleaned the pool yesterday, got it all done up with the chemicals and stuff like that. And, you know, because you have to put all this stuff in it. There's like 4 different steps to try to get it all up. And I'm out there with no gloves, touching everything.
It's good for the old picking fingers.
Yeah, man, it's good for your liver, just amongst everything else. But so we about got that going, and I was real excited. I was like, man, I want to get in the pool. And then I checked the weather, and we've got some, wind coming in, and which is probably going to destroy the pool again. And then it's going to get colder this weekend. A cold front's blowing in.
Again?
Yeah, man. Yeah. I think we're going to be back down in the 60s as a high on like Sunday or something like that. So
I hadn't heard about that. See,
crazy Texas weather.
We should both pay attention to what's going on in our lives a little
Well,
bit more. I don't even know what's going on.
Well,
with the
in
weather.
Texas, they say if you don't like the weather, just wait a little bit.
Yeah, give us a second.
It has been a wild spring down here, y'all. It's one day it's 92 degrees, the next day it's down into freezing temperatures. So it's
Yeah.
I don't know, but hey, Eric's not here this week. He's off on some business trips and taking care of stuff. But the Cowboy Experience show was up in. They went up to the Panhandle. They did a lot of stuff. I was following them on Instagram, and Eric was texting me some stuff. And Phoebe and Gio are both here today producing the show, and they were in the Panhandle. I know folks can't see them right now, but did y'all have fun? Are you tired? Because I saw y'all did and I know y'all don't have microphones right now for those listening, but I'll try to help y'all out. But y'all went to y'all did 3 different interviews or something like that.
Yeah, I went to Midland, Lubbock, and then up to Turkey.
Midland, Lubbock, and then y'all went to Turkey.
Turkey, Texas.
So they were gone for a week, almost, about right after we did the podcast on Monday. So, so we don't know if Eric is calling in sick or if he really has business. No, I'm joking.
He's got the Milwaukee flu.
But no, he's actually gone. But that's why we're so happy we had you
Yeah.
here today. So no, we're just hanging out. Episode 5. I can't believe it's still happening.
Yeah. This is great. I was gonna ask you, you have any songs you're working on? You've been writing?
Man,
much
that's
lately?
no.
Okay. Me neither. I was hoping you had something to talk about because I don't
Well,
know
the thing that's been happening with me is that I finally got the record done. It's done. I mean, it was done a month ago. It's sitting in the bag, but so now you got to start doing all the promotion stuff, which
Right.
I hate.
I hate
By the
it
way,
too.
I hate it.
I hate it.
I
too.
love writing music. I love recording it. I love teaching it to the band. I love the whole thing about it. But when it comes time that you really got to promote it and you got to get videos done and promotional material and you got to push it out in certain times. Not only do I hate it, I suck at it.
Right.
But I've got people helping me. I know Phoebe and Gio are going to help me a little bit. And so I just been trying to work on that, try to get everything submitted and get the stuff up on here and there. But I don't know. Do you have a writing process?
Yeah, it's a really scatterbrained one. Yeah, I mean, kind of. I'll start I usually write in a Google Doc, and I'll see if I start one on a certain date, I'll just date it and kind of put in the title, whatever the basic topic might be.
Yeah.
And I'll just kind of I write a lot of one-liners, one line at a time, and then maybe some of them go together, maybe some of them don't. and I'll write for a few hours, and whatever comes comes. And a lot of times I go back to that document. It usually takes me 2 or 3
You
sittings
keep
to
it on a
finish it up.
computer
Well, I tell you why. I used to write in a
and you
notebook,
lost it.
and I started losing them, or they would
Yeah,
get
yeah,
damaged, or
yeah.
which box did I put it in? And now I know if I can just search for a word that I've written at some. I keep them all in one folder, and
Gotcha.
if there's a word I'm looking for, I can just search that word and find whatever document it's in. It makes it easy to come back to an idea later,
You
which
can do
is
the Control F search or whatever.
yeah,
You
yeah,
see
that's
what
right.
topic you're trying to
Where
write
it
about.
is. Yeah, that's right.
You know,
Yeah.
I started putting my stuff on a computer a couple years ago too.
Did you?
Yeah, I have these notebooks. Now I've still got them up there in somewhere in the closet, but they're like just notebooks of just.
Mm-hmm.
And someone told me early on in my career, they said,
Right.
don't throw away anything.
Right.
I don't care if it's this. If you think it's the shittiest song you ever wrote, you keep it in that book.
Mm-hmm.
So
And it's so cool. I have those books too, and I'll open them up once a year or something. I'll be looking for something, and I go back and like, wow, this is when I wrote "Flower of the Rio Grande." That's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
Look at that.
Sell them
It's
one day.
yeah, yeah,
Someone
I
give you
should.
$10.
Yeah, that'll be in a. We'll put that in a museum
Yes,
next to
yes, yes,
Crazy.
yes.
Would
We'll
be really, really,
you
really
know,
cool.
but to go back to that right there, when I had put out the Texas Made Honky Tonk album in 18, that album, and I've told people this before in interviews, there's about 4 songs on that album that I wrote 10 years or more before that record even came out. It was like me sitting around and you go back and you revisit these lyrics and you realize the lyrics were great. You just were real new and fresh and kind of young when it came to like arranging and the musical part of it and like that. So
Mm-hmm.
so you go back and you like look at these lyrics, you're like, man, that was cool. I've got all this, I've got 1,500 gigs under my belt, and so
Mm-hmm.
let's work on that. Let me see if I can make this into a better
There
song, and
could be
so
something
that's what
here.
happened too. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that was one thing that really helped me out. But
Yeah. I find too, those times when I go back and look at that stuff, I can think, oh man, I know where I was, what I was doing, what year it was, what was going on in my life. And, you know, it's like I can see, like you're saying, it's like maybe the writing wasn't great yet, but I can have a lot of compassion for that person who is
yes.
writing that. It's like I can hear what I was going through in that time and kind of have compassion for that. And I think there's some value there
Now
too
we
for
talked
me.
about last week. You were just finishing up
Hmm.
an album. Now
Yeah.
have you figured out? Because I just figured out when I'm going to release mine this last week.
Yeah. I
So
don't have anything figured out.
none. You're just sitting on.
We haven't
Oh,
we
you still got to overdub vocals
I
and
got to
stuff
do
like that. Yeah.
some vocal overdubs, and I have this last party we're doing this Thursday at the White Horse. Uh, Paige Plaisance and us and Emily Ninny all at the White Horse, and this has been a big production of mine to get this whole
Yeah.
thing going and off the ground. And so once I'm done with this party, which is taking up so much of my life this week, then I can turn my attention
Okay.
to the
And
finishing up
when
the
is that going to be?
record.
Thursday? You
Thursday
said?
night. Yeah,
Thursday night.
yeah. Paige is it. So my friend Evan Wilson is coming in from Seattle. He and I grew up in Nacogdoches together. We were music students together.
Nacogdoches. Is that the proper way to say it?
Nacogdoches. Yeah, yeah.
Nacogdoches.
Don't call me Naked Roaches, but do call me Nacogdoches. He lives in Seattle now, and he's a songwriter. So he's coming down to play the happy hour. I got him the
Good.
happy hour gig, and then Joe's wife Beth is going to teach a great dance lesson
Good.
at 7, and then Paige at 8, us at 10, and Emily Ninny at midnight.
Nice.
She'll close out the night. And
If I didn't have a gig that I got a private part I got to play that night, I'd come to that. Damn it. I always miss everything.
I'll video the whole thing.
Us
for
musicians, we never get to go to each other's gigs.
That's why this is so awesome.
Yeah.
You and I've gotten to hang out more in the
Well,
last 2
we
weeks.
talked about that last week on the podcast about how I'd known you for like 8 years, but never got a chance to really talk to you. Besides, when you're in a club, you just meet somebody and you shake hands, and you don't really know anything about them. But anyway, so you got that coming up Thursday.
Yeah, and then I'll turn my attention to the record after that. Once I
Okay.
can kind of clear my headspace of this thing, and I'll be really excited. We don't have a date yet. I will probably do singles for a while.
Yeah.
We'll probably do at least 3 or 4. Just to
Well, I
kind of have
decided
something to talk about.
I'm going to do the release May 31st. So
Okay.
Stone Cold Country Gold will come out May 31st.
Do you have a party plan for it?
It's kind of weird. Yes, I'm having an album release like gig, but those things are like a little overrated now. Like, in the old days, people were ready to buy a CD. They were ready to get their hands on the stuff, and you'd have this. But now everything's singles now and stuff like that. And, you put out, which this will be my last full length record I think I ever put out. I'll just
You
do
mentioned
singles
that.
from now on. But so yeah, we do have something, and we'll have fun, and I know people are looking forward to it. And we're going to have a couple singles come out before then. So Still looking at one to come out April 15th, and then
Okay.
we'll have one May 1st, and then hopefully one May 15th, and then May 31st. The whole record will be available for everybody, and it's been a long time coming.
And it's called
Stone Cold Country Gold is what it's going to be, and we've been working. I mean, it's been a work in progress for way too long. That the record has fought me the whole way, but I'm going to win. We're going to get it out, but looking forward to that. But other than that, I'm just focused on getting through this week. I've got a couple private parties. We're going up to Temple on Friday, Bowes Barn Dance Hall. Got a great crowd and following up there. We love everybody. Can't wait to get up there. And then last minute gig came in for Saturday night real late. We're going to play the White Horse. So
yes.
we're going to go do that midnight.
I might be able to make that.
You should.
I have a wedding that day.
It's the craziest
I will
thing.
Be done in time to make it to the Weldon.
I'm a big fan of like playing early. I love to play like 6, 8. I don't really like to play past like 11 at night or something like that. But then a guy named Busty used to book the White Horse, and he came out a few times and saw me play. He's like, "Man, we need to get you at the White Horse." And then he goes, "Man, can you do the midnight slot?" And I'm like, "Oh Lord." I was like, absolutely, I can do it. But that was always the weirdest thing for me was like, I literally would like go to bed and then wake up.
And go to the bar.
And go to the bar, which, it's probably nothing for our friend Tanner Burch. He plays up in Nashville and does gigs from 10 a.m. to 4 in the morning. But we'll hear a little bit about that here in a couple more minutes. But it's kind of fun. You like roll in. It's like you kind of nap and then you kind of wake up when you get there.
It's a disco nap.
Yeah, and then go play the show, and it's always packed. So looking forward to doing that, and then
I might be able to make that.
Come on out.
I'm going to try. Yeah, I've got. You know how weddings are when you have to set up your own sound system at 2:00 in the afternoon and play at 7. So I'll be doing that. But they're great people.
Hopefully the weather's all right. It's supposed to be kind of crappy weather on Saturday.
I hope so. It's outside, and they're dancers. They're in the dance community, so I really am looking forward.
If it's ever weather where it's kind of crappy and it's not raining, I'll go tell the bride. I'm like, look, your pictures will be great. The lighting is like really controlled. Yeah. The pictures are going to be.
That's a good point.
Great.
I need to hold on. That's a veteran line I need to hold on to. Keep the vibes good at the wedding.
Absolutely. Folks, while we're sitting here right now, I want to remind everybody to give a review for this podcast. Give us 5 stars if you can. If not, leave whatever you can. We appreciate it. We appreciate any feedback. Share it with your friends. We're still getting this rolling, trying to get all the best guests we know to come on here. And I'll tell you what, we got our friend Tanner Burch is over there. He just got here a couple minutes ago. We're going to bring him in. Let's meet Mr. Tanner Burch from Nashville, Tennessee. So we've got our buddy Tanner Burch in the house, all the way from Nashville, Tennessee. He's got his microphone on. There he is.
Good.
Come on, man. How are you?
Hanging in there, man. How are you?
Gosh.
Hey, man. Good to see you.
Good to see you, dude.
Welcome to Texas.
Yeah, man.
Is this your first trip to Austin?
No, it's my second. So I came here last year for my first time and kind of grunged it. It wasn't, kind of trying to, because I told you got to lose money to enter like a new market a little bit. So I took some pretty low paying gigs just so I could network in Texas and get better ones that kind of come back. But yeah, I played in Grapevine last year. Then I played at the Spoke in the restaurant, where I actually lost my voice.
The front room.
In the front room. I lost my voice in the front room. They had to do instrumentals.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was a nightmare.
Isn't that the worst?
It was a nightmare. I was like, all right, I'm just going to start with Long Haired Country Boy because that's a low register song and nothing came out. And so.
That happens to me like 2 or 3 times a year.
Man.
And it's the most horrible thing. Matter of fact, me and Eric talked about this on like the first or second episode. They were like, what's the scariest thing about being in the music, and what's the most stressful thing about being in the music industry for me, which I'm sure you guys are singers as well and you lead your own bands.
Yeah.
It's like trying to maintain that vocal health. Because there's nothing more stressful than like, I got a gig tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I can't sing. I don't care. I mean, I'll have a broken leg. I don't care. I have a concussion in the head. No big deal. But if the voice is there, it's like the most stressful gig.
It's the weirdest thing when you've had the work hard mindset your entire life. Like I played football, right? And like I had a torn labrum for 15 games, and so my arm would pop out, and I just pop it back into place.
Yeah. It's just
with a voice.
With
a voice, you can't do that.
Yeah,
you can't tough it out.
Yeah,
like, and you can't. There's no amount of tea you can drink. It literally just takes time.
There's all those old things. Do this.
Man.
It doesn't matter. When it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
Rest, is the only thing you can do. And you're trying to lead a band, and it's up to you to make the money and get people paid and stuff like that. But first off, where are you coming in from?
Nashville,
Good
Tennessee,
old
man.
Nashville, Tennessee. Where is that home?
Yeah, I live north of there in Gallatin right now.
Okay.
I'm from originally like north of Savannah, Georgia, is where I'm originally from.
Really? I've never been there. Never been to Savannah, Georgia.
Savannah's great. South Georgia, there's not much to it.
Okay.
It's very flat, a lot of mosquitoes, a lot of space.
Skeeters.
North Florida.
Yes, it basically is. It's insanely humid.
When did you move to Nashville?
Yeah, I think it's 2 years now. I
Okay,
finally
wow.
moved.
Okay,
I finally moved.
okay.
I was in and out there for a while. I was like, I'm never moving to Nashville. And then, I kind of gave in.
Well, I mean, how far of a drive is that from Savannah? That's about 6 hours?
Yeah.
About 6
Well, at
hours.
the time, I was living in Chattanooga. And,
That's really close.
Well, actually, let me revert back. I was actually living in my truck for a while.
Where the truck was.
I lived in my truck for about a year and a half.
Sweet.
And then I lived in Chattanooga right before I moved into Nashville.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you like Nashville?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, it's a unique place. It's the only place in the world where not in the Southeast where I can just make a living playing music, and not have to worry about booking and traveling so much.
Yeah.
So I like it. I'm not really a city guy. It's loud. The interstates are rough, but I enjoy it for what it is. I found my way with it because I used to like, anybody looking from the outside in, I always just saw like Broadway as the enemy to country music. I always saw Nashville as the machine. And then, getting introduced to the right people, I realized it is what you make of it. So
I think it's changed, a lot in the last probably 5 or 6 years up there from what it used to be, where it was just like total industry driven.
Yeah.
I've just met guys like yourself that in the last year or so that make a living up there.
Yeah.
Some of the coolest dudes I've ever met up there, just making a living like we do here, Stephen. Just playing music and playing, whatever fits your style and fits for your schedule and what can you make work, like that. So I think there's probably a lot of parallels between what we do and what you guys do up there.
Absolutely.
But I'm gonna be honest with you. That shit seems intimidating playing on Broadway, all those shows you do and stuff like that. Like I've been following you on Instagram and it's like I'm playing 4 shows today. And then I follow some other cats that I know that are musicians in Nashville, and it's like the same thing, man. They're like I'm looking for gigs, and then like you'll see the gigs they already have, and I'm like, why are you looking for gigs? You're booked every day. Like, no, man, I'm available in the morning on this day. I'm available late at night this day. I mean, they're hustling, dude.
Man, the schedules are crazy. I mean, it's 10 to 2, 2 to 6, 6 to 10. And then 10 to 2:30 a.m.
Or kind
every
of the
day.
slots that you get in all the clubs.
Yeah, especially on the main drag. And man, it's there's so many shows happening at once down there. I mean, I think, I don't know if the math is correct, but I feel like there's like, easily like 100 shows a day just happening.
So all those bars on the weekdays, they start having music at 10 a.m.
Yeah, 10 a.m. on a Monday is rough. I'll tell you that.
I bet it is.
Man, or like a Wednesday. Like
wow, I didn't know about this schedule. That's crazy.
That's like that every day, and it's kind of as many shifts as there are. It's still hard to get slots, man. There's so many people trying to do that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's you gotta know somebody to get those things. Like it takes a while. Somebody was asking me, how do you get in these bars and get gigs? I was like, well, some of them make you audition, and then some of them you just gotta know somebody. And they're 4 hours is a long time to play, and they don't want you to take breaks either. Like the music has to keep going.
Tourists are rolling through.
Yeah. I mean, you can go in shifts or a bathroom break or go outside and take a cigarette.
Yeah.
But something's got to be playing the whole time. It's
almost brutal.
It's brutal. It can be brutal, and if you're not with the right band, it can be debilitating.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you're in a large room with like 5 people, that can be soul sucking.
I want to I almost would say that Austin is not the live music capital of the world anymore. I mean, I think Nashville's maybe taking it back over. I don't know, man.
There's so many bars now, but there's a lot. I mean, I walked down 6th Street and was walking. Y'all's bars, y'all's live music venues are more spread out. I mean, I feel like y'all got a lot more options beyond the main drag than we do.
Yeah, but no one's doing 10 a.m.
Yeah, that's true.
No one's doing like, whatever that is, 18 hours a day of music.
Yeah.
We don't even wake up that early.
No. I think you'd be hard pressed to find any bands in Austin to
It
play
would
10
be
a.m.
tough. Yeah.
We're kind of lazy down here. We like
Maybe on a Saturday, I guess.
I
Or
don't know, man.
there's that Joe's gig on Sunday morning.
That's
down
right,
at
people
South
do
Congress,
that.
but that's like the one-off.
I mean, I don't wake up till like 9 o'clock every day.
I'm an 8, 9 o'clock guy. Yeah.
Yeah, we played Jester King Sunday, and that was nice. It was 12:30, and I was like, man, that's
In the barn.
Yeah.
Like at the end of that barn.
Yeah, we played there, and that was a nice like little wake up. That was like the perfect meal. But 10 a.m. is brutal. I mean, I do it all the time, but I woke up that morning. I was like, man, 12:30 gig is pretty sweet compared to.
So, folks that don't know, Tanner just got down here on like last Thursday, was it?
Yes.
And he got some gigs booked here in Austin. Like I said, he was out in Lano on Friday at Sundown Bar with and you did a show with Del Watson.
Yeah, man.
One of my favorite people, our favorite artists.
Yeah, he's
killer.
Yeah, it was great. It kind of just happened. It kind of fell in my lap. They said Dale was asking about the date, and they really wanted Dale to come in there, and they texted me because we had booked the show way in advance. And Mike and Terry are very nice people.
Yeah. Well, we talked about you a little bit on Saturday. They said they really enjoyed it. They said you got a gig anytime you want to come back.
Oh, that's awesome. It's a cool spot, man. I really liked it. And they just texted me and they were like, hey, do you mind if you just play this slot in front of Dale? I was like, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I mean, this Dale Watson, of course I want to do that.
Dale Watson would probably play the 10 o'clock a.m. slot. He would probably be a guy that would do all those
He
slots.
would do it. Yeah.
He'd play 4 gigs a day.
The thing about Dale is that not only would he do it, he would draw a crowd and then crush it.
Yeah.
Like he always does.
Man, he's what a performer, man.
Oh my gosh.
It's very hard in like, I don't know, like it's in the Nashville world, like people are who they say they are.
Yeah.
That man's an actual like craftsmanship of country music, and like it's nice to see somebody be who they are and actually walk the talk.
Everybody can call themselves a troubadour, but Dale Watson is the troubadour.
Man,
that man has been playing 350, 400 gigs a year for 30 years straight. Man.
He just doesn't stop.
No, it's crazy.
Just goes. Yeah.
So, how did you like Lano?
Loved it, man. It's a charming town.
It's my favorite little town, man.
I stayed at this little place called the Lone Star Inn.
Yeah, I know where it is. Been there.
Very clean.
Yeah.
I was surprised. I was like, this is a motor lodge. I'm not really sure.
Yeah,
very clean. We enjoyed it. We kind of had a far drive because we were coming from Dallas that day, so we didn't get to explore it too much that day. But I love Sundown. Charming little place. Very,
did
very
it make
comfy.
you feel like it was 1960s honky tonk?
It did.
Yeah, they do a real good job.
And the crowd was, it was nice to see a crowd listening and paying attention and enjoying it. And we played a fair amount of originals in there, and they went really well.
People are responsive to originals around here, man.
Yeah,
they really
I'm not
are.
used to that.
Yeah,
in Nashville, they're like,
Nashville's still kind of.
In Nashville, you'll be like, "There's an original." They'll be like, "Play Crystal Dew."
Yeah. That was one of the reasons.
I love Chris Ledoux, and also here's an original.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the reasons I moved to Austin. Is of course I grew up in Texas, and everybody wants to end up in Austin, but I was playing in bands before I moved down here, and it was like, man, I want to move there because people want to hear your originals. They want to hear your songwriting. They want to get to know you as an artist. So that's always refreshing. It's not always that way, but it's more often than anywhere else, I bet. So I appreciate that very much. And so you did Lano, and then Sunday you went and did Jester King.
Yeah, so Saturday we did this place called Damn Red Bar.
Saturday you did the Damn Red Bar.
Yeah.
Canyon
Lake.
Canyon Lake, yeah, very cool place.
Yeah.
Nice little dance floor.
Man, cool spot.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed that.
I bet y'all got good response there.
Yeah, we did. I was, and it was, and they want us to come back in October, so we might take them up on that.
Well, you, because you play more of like a traditional Western swing type feel. music, which goes over well in Texas.
Yeah.
Now, after all these gigs, did you notice it goes over really well?
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was very happy to see how Johnny Bush goes down here. I mean,
Yeah,
I was nobody really.
Tanner's moving to Texas.
Maybe, I don't know. Well, the girlfriend's not too keen about doing that, but
She just hadn't spent enough time down here.
well, she's also a line dance instructor. I don't think they do line dancing.
No, we don't
down
do a lot of
here.
line
Not
dancing.
as much of that here.
Yeah.
It's mostly part. She can partner dance too though. She can do that.
She teaches that too, man.
Yeah, I bet she can do it all right.
That's funny.
So talk to me about the originals. I know you said you're kind of getting a good response down here. I mean, what are you finding stylistically that you're kind of moving into that's working, or
Yeah,
what do you
man.
find that's like landing the most here in Texas?
Yeah, so like my songwriting has really developed. Like it changes. You know, I feel like if you look at my stuff online, like it's like it went from like living room recordings of like cheesy little songs, then it went to like singery songwritery, and then I'm just trying to find my way. I feel like, um, the more I play live, the more I discover something about myself. And so since I moved to Nashville, my songwriting, my originals are way different because I've listened to the right musicians, and I feel like I'm a product now of the musicians I hang around, and looking for those guys that really understand country music as at a craftsmanship level.
I mean, you are who you surround yourself with.
Yeah,
You want to
and
be around great musicians. We talked about that last week.
yeah, and as a person that's not exactly like classically trained, like I need that feedback and kind of like that ear.
Yes.
Most of my band members, except for like one, they all went to college for music, so they have this like,
There's a lot of that in Nashville.
man, yeah.
Guys
So
yeah.
one did Berkeley, one did
Wow.
like a classical voice at Beaumont, one went to McGill in Montreal, and they all love country music. It's kind of wild, and
That's neat.
so it's really developed, and so I've written a couple shuffles that went really well. I wrote a Western swing song that went really well.
Yeah.
The one that I think is hit the most in Texas is one that I wrote with a feller Ken Lee out in Colorado. He used to open up for like Waylon Jennings back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
I pray to God, I pray to beer, and it's just a simple,
Yeah.
1-4, 1-5 deal.
That's all it takes.
A little shuffle, and it's really just about when
It's working well.
when life's not going your way, you just pray God, have a beer, and dance with a pretty girl. And that's really it.
So when did you start writing music?
So I didn't start. I've always been a writer, but I didn't really get to a chance to focus on music until funny story. I moved to Nashville as a medical salesman.
Sweet.
And I was in a long distance relationship, and my grandmother died and gave me her 1985 Ibanez and some records, and I decided, well, since I'm going to get in trouble if I go out, I'm going to learn how to play guitar on this. And so I practiced like 3 hours a day, ended up getting pretty decent at it within 2 months, and then started writing songs. Actually, the first one I wrote was Coffee and Crown, which is
I listened to that song today.
yeah.
What year was that?
That was 2018 or 19.
Okay.
Yeah, 2018 or 19. And so
Tanner's young. He looks young too.
I get this gray spot right here. I don't know about that. So yeah, I've always written, but it didn't, once I put the chords, my brain just kind of lit up.
Gotcha.
So I've officially writing songs since I was 26. So I guess about 8 years now. No, 6 years. 6 years.
6 years or
Sorry.
something like
I
that.
can't do math.
Yeah.
I can't do math.
Me
I'm from
neither.
South Georgia, man.
You still got family down there in South Georgia?
No, my dad's still in Augusta,
Okay.
which is kind of East Georgia.
Yeah.
My mom is up in Eastern Carolina
Gotcha.
with my sister. So there, once I left Savannah, my mom really didn't stay there, so I haven't been down there in forever, to be honest.
So home's just wherever.
Yeah, I've always been kind of a drifter, anyways.
Hold on, what truck were you living in? What kind of truck was it?
It was it's 2003 Toyota Tundra. I still have it.
That's because those things will last forever.
Yeah, it's got 330,000
Dude,
miles on it. And
everybody I know that has one of those, you can go up to 400,000 miles or so on new some bitches.
That thing is not. I don't think it's close to breaking down.
It's
I had a
a great
camper
truck.
top. I slid a twin mattress in there, and I played acoustic shows all over the Southeast.
You guys are brothers from another mother.
Yeah, we'll talk about camper shells later.
No, we can talk about camper shells. It's a podcast. Let's talk about camper shells. I've been thinking about getting one on my half ton.
Yeah, I recommend it.
That's his truck, the one with the camper shell.
When you get
That's
It's got
awesome.
the twin bed in it.
no,
Does
I
it
got
really?
I got a
That's
queen.
his.
I got a
Oh, he's
queen bed.
he's
I got a
up.
memory.
He's up a level.
Yeah, man.
I got a twin bed in the back of that one usually, but here's what we do on tour: is I bring 3 guys. We rent one hotel room, and we use that twin bed, so we don't have to get 2 rooms. And we just rock paper scissors. Who's gonna sleep?
Who's
in this
going to be on
one?
that? Sweet.
Dude, you get you with something like that. I've slept behind the broken spoke in that thing.
Woo!
When I drank too much and couldn't drive home.
I tell you what, waking up with a hangover
In a
and
camper.
a camper shell and it's 98 degrees humidity is one of the worst experiences.
How many times have you had to do this? This sounds like something you did more than once.
Oh man, a lot of times, and like a lot of time, like the misconception is that you're gonna wake up next to a river and just
Oh, it's all peaceful.
yeah,
It's wonderful.
drink my
I'm in
coffee.
nature.
I'm free,
Yeah, it's not.
but about 50% of the time you're in a Walmart parking
Right.
lot, and some schizo's having a moment next the tree next to you, and and then you're like, and you wake up and you just got to get out of the parking lot.
This is real country music.
Yeah.
This is working class shit, man.
This is working class.
Yeah.
Living in the camper shell. What brand should I get for the camper shell? What's a good brand?
You probably know more about that. I don't.
Well, no, I don't. I only know anything about mine, which is a 1988 Lear.
I love
So
it.
don't ask me
I'm just
about what
joking.
brand to
It's all
buy.
good. It's all
But-
good.
Get one
Oh,
with
that
sealed
works.
windows.
Just
Yeah,
make sure it's
sure
sealed
it's
windows.
watertight.
Because I've woken up with like something dripping on my head. So
So hold on. So Tanner Burch and your band's name is what is it?
the Hill Hippies.
The Hill Hippies. This
Yeah.
is almost like you're our hippie. This is great, man. Living in the
Yeah.
in the truck down by the river
Yeah, in the van down
in the Walmart parking lot.
in the Walmart parking lot.
or in a hospital parking lot. Wherever I can find
Yeah.
to be.
And of course you're doing this because you have a passion and a love for music.
yeah.
And this is why we do this podcast. This is why we started this podcast,
Mhm.
because we wanted to bring people kind of a behind the scenes look of, okay, it's great. Thank you for telling us about your single. But like, we want to know, like, you slept in the parking lot.
Yeah.
How many nights because you didn't have the money to stay in a hotel because you wanted to get to this gig to play that music.
Yeah.
And that's where the passion and the commitment comes from.
Mhm.
And that's cool stuff, man.
Yeah. Yeah, those are the stories I like.
I feel like that's a rite of passage for country
You
music.
got to.
And I feel like, one time I slept in a barn. One time I
Yeah.
slept in a bar.
Yeah,
I like you
I've done a
need
few of those.
you need these grungy experiences to like even have a story.
That's
to
right.
be,
That's right.
And
It's
like,
got to be a struggle.
yeah,
Ain't country music, but ain't struggle.
yeah, but nobody wants to do that anymore. It's
Yeah.
like
I always thought it was fun. Now,
Yeah.
now hold on a second.
Absolutely.
To the listeners out there, it was fun when I was in my 20s. It's not fun now in my 40s.
Yeah.
No, I'm not sleeping on the ground somewhere in the back of a bar and with a U-Haul blanket. So, but anyway, yes, a lot of fun when you're 20 something.
Don't date a 20-something honky tonker unless you want to wake up on a mattress in a kitchen.
in the
Stay
back,
away-
the camper shell.
Stay away
wait
from the honky
wait till
tonkers.
the frontal lobe like
Yeah, we gotta
develops
develop
and like
the-
maybe in our
But
early
yes,
30s.
man, to piggyback on what you're saying, those were some of the most fun times I've had. Was something like that where it's just like looking back, or when somebody who like has a normal life, hears about it and it's like, what the hell is wrong with you? You're like, that was awesome.
Yeah.
That was the most fun. If I could remember it, but there's another thing of that. But hey, you want a water or something? Sparkling water?
Yeah, I'll take water.
Yeah. I'll get you something. Steven, you need anything, bud?
I'll take one.
You got it.
I'd say one of the tricks that I had to learn when I was sleeping in the truck more often is having the presence of mind late at night to look around me and think about which way is the sun going to come up,
Yeah.
Positioning
so
the
that I could
camper
position
shell.
the camper properly so that it's not so hot,
Yeah.
you know.
I feel like I would be so messed up on my mind, whether it was like I was cross buzzed or just something. That I would just crawl in that thing and
Man.
like it's hibernating,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, you know, that might come in handy when you're doing, because I saw the other day, or no, I saw the other day on something, you had played a gig at like 10 to something, 10 to 2 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And then you ended up doing a third gig later on that was till 2 or 3 in the morning.
Yes.
So you need the camper shell.
The
You
split-
need that twin bed
Mm-hmm.
back there.
Yeah, that's why. Well, I got the van for travel, but I also got it for when I have split doubles on Broadway, or like
It's like a green room,
yeah. So
traveling
like
rest
yeah,
area.
yeah. So like if I play from usually if I play from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and then I don't play again until 10 p.m. I'll go home
Yeah.
and just
How
hang
far
out.
is the drive? Is it to the?
To my house about 35 minutes.
Okay, so it's like
I used to live 10 minutes downtown, but I got tired of all the gunshots and the sirens and
sweet.
yeah, I was over that. And then so I usually will, but sometimes I'll do like a 2 to 6 and then a 10 to close. I'm like, well, there's no point
in going home.
So I'm just gonna go
Clock
sleep
out a little bit.
Go sleep in the van. But even that's tough sometimes because people are allowed in parking
Yeah.
garages. But
Yeah.
And it gets pretty hot in Tennessee though in the summer.
it does.
So that's got to be rough.
Mhm.
See, we're just used to it always being hot down here, pretty much. Now, this has been okay weather since you've been here, but
Man, I came here last year at the end of May, and I did nothing but outdoor shows, and it was awful.
yeah,
It was awful.
just you give up on trying to make yourself look presentable.
Oh no, you're gonna sweat
Man.
through every
Just
shirt.
like, because like you show up, you're like, man, I gotta set up, and then I gotta change, and then there's just some gigs where I'm like, I'm not changing, I'm not washing my face, nothing between setting up and the gig because it's not gonna matter. Because 1 minute after I walk on that stage, it's just gonna be back to square one.
all this.
So
right
you
here.
don't even care. You're just like, man. I mean, I'll bring like nice shirts sometimes to those gigs, the ones you're talking about where they're outdoor and they're just completely insanely hot and crazy. And then when it's time to go on stage for real, I'm just like, man, I'm not changing. I'm just gonna stay in this. This is already stuck to me. I can't get it off.
That happened to me at Jester King because it rained and it got real humid. I was like, I'm leaving the t-shirt on. I'm not wearing.
Well, one thing I'll tell you about Austin
peacocking
area,
today.
people like that. People don't care down here.
Mhm.
You can wear a tank top on stage. I don't
Yeah.
know why sometimes I even put a nice shirt on. Is people don't care. You can wear whatever down here in Austin. But
Well, you always want to peacock a little bit. You know?
yeah.
You know?
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, peacocking.
Stand
You know?
out.
Standing out, baby.
Stand
Get
out.
the
Don't
feather.
stick
Get the
out.
feathers out
Yeah,
there, brother.
You guys probably get a lot of that up there in Nashville. People really dressing to the nines.
I mean, they dress like the nines of a boot barn, but like
oh, boot barn.
but like and the East Nashville cats, they dress a little nicer, but yeah. But not so much of the it's like it's not so much of like the authentic Western stuff that you usually see.
Yeah.
But the front men are mostly ball caps and kind of like what I call like the southeast country guy.
Gotcha.
Well,
I mean, I'd wear the new up to date trend clothes if I could afford them, but I just buy all my old vintage stuff off eBay, and it's cheaper and looks better.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I have
That's
a
right.
vintage, I have a vintage sales guy in the band.
Do you really?
Heck yeah, yeah. He owns a vintage shop, and I like, you're learning to play the bass, dude. And he's
Really?
like, okay.
I need to go check his shop out.
Yeah.
That's a good hookup right there.
Oh my gosh, he knows all our sizes and what we like and stuff.
When
So
something
he's
pops
like,
through.
when he's outsourcing, he sells it to us. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean this belt buckle. I mean that's
Oh, it's got the Buffalo nickels on it.
this is a $200
Yeah.
thing. I got it. I found it in a Cherokee reservation, North Carolina, for $20.
Yeah.
Man, Buffalo.
work.
I know. So like that's vintage. Buying vintage shirts is definitely my jam. I gotta buy new jeans. Nobody was.
The problem with buying the new jeans, they don't last, man.
No,
Like,
I've ripped some of your Wranglers.
For me to get the jeans I really like, I have to go on eBay and stuff and like look for the ones that were made back in the 80s and 90s.
Same.
And I know like the 947 stretch and the 937s are good. And you got to try to find them on there, because if you go buy the new Wrangler, whether they call it retro or whatever. I mean, they look good on the shelf, and then the 10th time you wear them,
Yeah.
they're done. They're
They
thin. They're like
Yeah.
paper.
Ranchers are. Unfortunately, I'm built like a brick shit house. So like,
Linebacker.
yeah,
What did you
I
play in
can't.
college? You played ball in college. What position?
Middle linebacker.
Middle linebacker.
Mhm.
Okay, see, looked like a linebacker.
Yeah. Played Gardner Webb all 4 years. And
Are you college educated?
yeah, with a degree I didn't really use. I was a kinesiology major. I thought I was gonna play pro football in my entire 20s. So I didn't really.
You were really playing football for real.
Yeah. So I was a 2-time All-American.
No shit.
Yeah. So I thought I had a shot, and then I had a pro day in front of like 25 NFL scouts, and he got a back spasm in the middle of it. And instead of like, I'm going to try this again another time, I tried to push through it, and my numbers just.
So you didn't have good numbers because your back was
No.
messing up.
Yeah, when your back locks up and you're trying to run and cut and,
Yeah.
and jump, like it really affects the way you can produce elasticity. And I messed up. I mean, I got a call from the Giants on like the third day of the draft, and they asked about my health.
Really? So
And,
you were on the radar.
Yeah, I mean, I
Damn.
was. I don't like.
Yeah, but to get on like NFL scouts even radar, you got to be pretty good.
I suppose, but I was beat up, man. I was so beat
It's rough.
up.
I hear that from a lot of
I
guys who play
can't.
football.
I have. I'm glad. I at that time I'd had like 4 surgeries.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And then my agent told me, well, the CFL is interested in you, so lose about 15 pounds.
That's the Canadian Football League.
Yeah, Canadian
which actually
Football
is pretty good.
Man, it's wide open. Like the fields are longer, they're wider. There's only 3 downs, and the play clock's shorter too.
So it's like fast paced.
Yeah, it's like tackle 7-on-7. So I had to lose probably about 15 pounds because
They
I
want
was.
you to be able to move more better.
Yeah, because I was like
mobility.
I was 6'4", 260, like a middle linebacker. So I had to lose a bunch of weight.
So you're like Toby Keith in a way. You could be your own like bodyguard.
Yeah, I guess.
Like, I don't like how you're acting. Just get off stage and throw them out.
Yeah. So I went and did that, and I got a peaked interest from the Montreal Alouettes. So I did one tryout. They said, we're doing one last tryout with all the guys that we like at this place in Charlotte. And so I was doing really good. And then I felt like I was on track to get signed. But probably the second to last play, I was guarding this running back from Georgia Tech, and he ran out on the flat route, and so I was covering him. And the ball kind of got thrown out here behind us, so I went to plant and swat at it.
Barely missed it.
No, I planted, and my foot didn't go this way; it went that way, and so my knee twisted.
Oh well, yeah, you're done.
And popped, and like.
God dang it.
I tore my ACL, and the cold crowd like went ooh, because it just.
Damn, man.
And
That's
so
bad luck.
Yeah, it was bad. I was. They kind of came out. The head coach came over and told me a story about his knee, and then the scout was like, "Yeah, man, maybe next year." And I was like, "Nah, dude, I'm done."
You're done. I mean, you've already had all those surgeries, and you're between the shoulder and the knee and stuff like that, and all that stuff's gonna hurt when you get older.
Man, it hurts right now.
Hurts
I got that surgery, and then I was coaching football, and I had to get a nerve surgery because I tore it showing a kid
how to do something.
how to do something. So like they went in my knee and they're like, "Yeah, dude, you got the knee of a 70-year-old."
Wow.
So I didn't feel it too bad, but until I turned 30, and I got arthritis in my shoulder and my knee.
Yeah. Oh
And,
man.
The CTE thing was a problem too. Like I had to get a counselor and help from them for a little bit too. So I'm glad I didn't make it. Honestly, I was devastated. I didn't know who I was. Like you come from a small town. Everybody says you can solve all your problems
by playing sports. Yeah.
I didn't know what the hell to do after that.
Yeah. Your story I have a brother who's around your age. He's 35, I think, and he played high school. He played Pop Warner, junior high, high school, college ball, and similar thing where his body at 35, he's just like, man, my body is it's just beat up. He says the CTE stuff is real. My brain's cloudy. You know, he's like, in the end, I'm glad that I kind of washed out when I did, because who knows how much worse it could have been. You know?
Man, it's
You guys are tough though, man. I don't know how you do it with
I don't
all
either.
that stuff.
I don't know how you do it.
you get. I mean, you just get. I was an angry kid, so like I
It's a
didn't.
good way for you to release.
Yeah, I was. I mean, I wasn't an angry kid, but like, I came from. Had a lot of anger internally. You know.
It's a good way to release that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but like being tough. I know Roger Allen Waves. If you're going to be dumb, you better be tough.
Yeah.
But sometimes being tough is dumb. You know, like sometimes you need to know your limits, and I didn't know my limits with that because I was just so hell bent on being this thing.
Yeah.
And I would hurt myself for getting a concussion. I throw myself right back into the game no matter what. You know.
You know, I hear a lot of stories about people with the concussion stuff. That's actually real serious. It's more serious than any of the other injuries. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There was one time I got a concussion, sat out a half, and like then played the rest of the game and didn't remember half of it the next day. I ended up making like 24 tackles, so it was kind of wild. I was on autopilot.
Jeez.
Just like, you know. But I threw up. I spent the whole night throwing up. It was craziest thing ever.
Well, you mentioned you talked to a counselor. I'm really glad to hear that. You know, I think that's a part of that honky tonk lifestyle that we all, you know, have know the history of and been around and are kind of deep in. You know, I think there's the generations before us. It was just kind of, well, you drown it in booze and you go from one woman to the next and whatever. And there's still fun to do all that shit. I'm not saying I don't drink and party, but you know, that mental health stuff. It's like there's a better way. I think there's a healthier way for all of us to moving forward and being able to talk about that kind of stuff and be like, man, I just needed some help. I needed some guidance and some whatever it is you needed in the moment, whether it's medication or counseling or something else. You know, it's like I think I don't know. I think back to like the old honky tonk. I think about like Hank and Cash. It's like, you know, Waylon. It's like, man, do I admire their music? Yes, absolutely. But I think we've come a little bit further in how we can kind of handle our life situations and taking care of ourselves, you know?
Yeah, and we all romanticize those things. Like, well, we look at those guys like, man, I wish I could be like Waylon, just blow up a freaking building because they screwed me.
Because they didn't pay me.
Yeah, and like, you admire this, you know, all these, like, we romanticize those
George
things.
Jones like walking around with an 8-ball in his pocket,
Right.
in his shirt pocket with a straw hanging out.
It sounds cool in theory, but
It's
like
not
the
cool.
way it's not. And like, you know, one time some cat told me, I was talking about Waylon and all the drinking and all the shit that I do, and he's like, hey man, those guys are dead for a reason. Waylon could barely breathe by the end of his life.
Yeah,
like,
it was a rough last 5 years or so for him.
Yeah, and it was like you can't, that stuff, you can't get away with that stuff anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, I had to quit drinking altogether, but you know.
Well, you know, I was going to. I didn't know if you wanted to touch on that or not, but like, you have a story where you've pursued sobriety now for how long have you been sober?
3 years September.
Wow.
Yeah.
So 2.5 years.
Yeah, straight. Yeah, I had nothing too. I know there's different types
Did you
of sober
cold turkey
these days.
You cold turkeyed it.
Yeah, man, I cold turkeyed everything.
Good for
Which
you.
they tell you not to do that. But I did.
Yeah, but some old school mindset guys like you, that's the only way you'd be able to
Yeah,
do it.
I did kind of a monk way of doing it. I went and rented a shack in northern Alabama and drive
Really?
out. And all I did for 8 months a year was play a gig every now and then. But I was a carpenter, and I just went and got help every day. Like it just
So first off, before I go into all that, do you think all the injuries maybe made you have like an addictive personality where you wanted some alcohol and drugs?
Here's the thing. There's two identities I had, and my whole life I've been trying to escape something. Like I came from a divorced family, and that harbors a lot of anger. And my parents did the best.
Animosity and stuff
My
like
parents
that.
did the best they could.
Yeah,
my mom and dad are great.
But you still find ways to like blame people.
Yeah, And so my escape of life was football because I could always, despite what people say, that's a very therapeutic way
Yes, absolutely.
of like handling your fear.
Absolutely.
You know, channeling your fear into that. And so the two identities I feel like I had to escape problems was I could play football and focus on that. And then I could always be the guy that at the party that everybody liked.
Yeah.
And I could always go to the bar and just be that guy. And so when I lost football, that was the only remaining identity I had. And that's how I dealt with everything. And it's helpful for a while, man. I'm not saying, and for me, it was helpful for a while until, you know, I mean,
It's helpful until it wasn't.
yeah, especially like, you know, when I watched my brother die, like that's when it turned on me bad.
Yeah.
Like grief will like slap you, rotate you, and like just and like it'll change your perception on anything, or it'll in fact, you know, change how everything is, you know, for you. And there was like this dark side of me that like just can't like it just came it would not there was something I wasn't addressing, and it would just not go away no matter what I did. And then so it was just time, you know. The one thing it's kind of a cool story for me. When my brother was dying, he said he was going to get blue wings and it's going to come back as a dragonfly, which is so cool.
Look here,
you got blue string black dragonfly.
Dang,
right
man,
there.
How about that?
I know. And so, you know, and part of the reason why I pursued music is because, you know, he loved watching me play, and like I wasn't happy in life, and that's why I sold everything, lived out my truck. That's how I healed myself.
Yeah.
But, you know,
is there a feeling sometimes with that, like maybe you have to self-destruct to build again? Is there a feeling of that?
Every man needs to find their bottom. You know.
Yeah.
You got to find a bottom, and the bottom, where the bottom is where you're gonna find yourself, and where you can build something that is actually rock solid. You know. And there's one day I had played in Colorado probably a year and a half later, and like I got screwed out a bunch of money. I like, you know, in Colorado everything's legal. The beer's good, the weed's great, the shrooms are legal technically, and you know, I lost a lot of money, had a bunch of crappy shows. I gambled my last $60 and somehow won in roulette and got a plane ticket back to Nashville.
Have you written that song yet?
Not yet. Actually,
really?
I wrote something called High in 25, but it's a funky song. And I had kind of a breakdown after that because I realized I had nothing, and like everything was just going wrong. So I had to borrow my truck broke down when I got back, so I had to borrow my mom's, you know, Kia Soul and go play a gig at this crappy bar in Nashville. And I get done playing a song, and I'm inside a bar, and all of a sudden, a blue dragonfly's on my mic, man.
Really?
Yeah. Never seen a blue dragonfly.
Now at this point, you're still boozing and drugging it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, hardcore self-destruction.
Yeah.
Barely making it. So
Yeah.
you gambled your last $60 to get a plane ticket back.
Yeah, pretty much, which is freaking stupid. Yeah.
Well, you did what you had to do.
Yeah.
I don't know how else you would have gotten the money in that case.
Well, I could have borrowed it, but you know how you know how that goes.
Right. I don't want to do that.
But yeah, man, I guess a lightning bolt hit me, and I was kind
Was
of ready to
that the
change.
moment? Was that
That
the
was-
moment? Right there on stage, the blue dragonfly, which your brother, your late brother, used to say he would come back and help you.
That was the moment. It was like a lightning bolt.
And you said, I got to get clean.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was that. Not everybody gets something like that. I don't know why. Like I was lucky enough to have that happen.
Folks, I actually had never heard this story, but I have my co-op magazine here from Pedernales Co-op, my electric company, and the cover has a blue dragonfly. And I'd never heard this story, so that's weird. And that just came in the mail yesterday. And I had it here because I read that magazine. It's pretty cool. Wow.
Awesome. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. and that doesn't happen for everybody. I don't know why. My brother was a special person.
Seems like I got a pretty tight bond.
Yeah. Taylor is my best friend, man.
Wow, man, I hate
He
to
was
hear that.
born with a lot of disabilities, and he's an angel in my life for sure.
Sounds like he saved your life.
He did. You know, he gave me perspective on a lot of things. He was like Winnie the Pooh, man. Just childlike,
Yeah, man.
childlike and jolly, and then just you know, he'd been through some. Man, he had like 25 surgeries, man. You know, just not dealt with a great set of cards.
Yeah.
And when you have a brother like that, and then you're out here being this
pity me, woe is me.
Yeah, being woe is me, and or you're seeing him not live the life that you're living because he's not able to.
Yeah.
It really changes your perception on like what people go through, and how and that what you're doing is not necessarily what everybody else is experiencing.
And sometimes makes you realize how immature you are.
Yeah. Absolutely. Or it gives you humility, and like you're not the center of the freaking world, you know. You know, not everybody thinks like you, not everybody is experiencing things like you, not everybody is capable as you. And so having conversations with him was he was more wise than I ever could be.
Yeah.
So, you know,
he's seen it. It's been a different road for him.
Mm-hmm. And I wish he could have gotten this side of me, you know.
Yeah.
And that's a kind of a regret I have. Is like, why did it take that to happen?
Yeah.
For me to be like this, like, why couldn't it be? You know, and that's just the human experience, man. We don't really understand the timing of things, you know.
Gosh, there's something about that humility part. You know, we were talking about the honky tonkers of the past. You know, I heard it's like maybe Bobby Bear or Richie Albright or somebody said about Waylon one time. He's like, you know, when he walked in the room, he sucked all the air out of it.
Yeah.
You know. And when I think about that now, I think there was a time in my life when I sort of was like, man, I need to have that kind of personality where it just all.
Yeah.
But really, in the end, it's like, man, how much ego is in that? As opposed to, like you're saying, understanding the experience of the people around me and how I'm affecting those people and how we're interconnected and what's going on with us, you know, and having the humility to like allow space for other people to have their experiences too.
Yeah.
It's not just my own, you know, and being able to draw on their experiences and learn from them and not just kind of be the biggest and in the room all the time.
Yeah. You know? I think we all get caught in our personality. I mean,
persona.
Yeah. Being the main character on stage is a thing, dude. And, and you can get caught up in it.
I think we all love that, right? I mean,
it gets stressful sometimes.
The one thing I appreciate about Nashville is like, there's two things that happen. You have a great show, and then you walk out and like there's 40 other bands playing.
Yeah.
And you realize, oh, everybody's having this experience right now. Or you have a bad show and like you walk out and like, oh my gosh, all these people are having much better shows. Like, I freaking suck. Like, you know? And you get you realize that you're just another person doing this, and that you may not be special, but you bring something unique to the table that maybe somebody else doesn't have.
That's right.
But you're not special. You're not.
But what I wanted to go back to is that you finally decided right then and there on stage it was time to get clean and sober. Yeah. And you went and moved up to the mountains for a year or something like that.
Yeah.
I want to know more about that.
Yeah, so I was splitting time between a girlfriend at the time and my mom, and that wasn't helping me because like when you get sober, your emotional capacity, like your nerve endings kind of open up in your chest and your mind.
Yeah.
And you're experiencing things at its fullest effect. And my mom and a girl that don't like each other. So like that wasn't working. So I was like, all right.
So I'm checked out.
I was like, all right, I'm gonna move in the mountains. And so I ended up finding this little like converted garage in Bridgeport, Alabama. The town barely exists. It's like a blimp. Northern Alabama is very rural. Very rural. But there's mountains there. And so I lived at the foot of Mount Carmel. And in this little converted
Garage.
garage. And it was super quiet. It was 45 minutes outside Chattanooga. And I've had so much noise and busyness in my life. I've never just, slowed down and knew who I was.
So this was to get away, clear your head.
Mhm.
Now I'm someone that always has to have projects, and if I remain idle for more than like 4 hours, my mind goes completely insane.
Yeah.
Are you that way, or was this what you wanted, or did you find something to keep your mind occupied other than the stuff that you didn't want to have occupied with?
So the goal for me is that I needed to be idle. Like
You need to be idle.
I needed to I needed whatever.
You needed a reset button.
Yeah, I just needed to understand who I was again.
Yeah.
And because I always made my life busy. Like I try to run away from the couch as much as possible. Because when I sat on the couch,
demons creep in.
And creeping the ceilings, the ceilings, creeping in, the walls are sliding,
So what are you doing? You're in Alabama. You're living in a little garage, converted garage, middle of nowhere, rural as hell. What are you doing?
So I was
not drinking.
No,
not doing drugs.
The only things I did is I was a carpenter, so
Okay.
I remodeled homes. I spent actually that Rugged Soul EP I did was help consume my mind a little bit. I did that at a studio in South Pittsburgh, Tennessee, with a guy named Mike Hedrick, who had just had a studio in his house, a commercial studio.
Nice.
So I would spend time. I would do that, and then I would go to meetings and go to therapy, and I did that. And that was like everything I did, and workout. That's all I did.
Yeah.
I didn't have a single person other than my mom. And that's just how I did that for like 8 months.
Now, so you're keeping yourself occupied. Was there a time where you were like, all right, I'm ready to go back and face? Was it planned? Like, oh, I'll just give it this long? Or was there like one day you woke up and it's like, man, I feel like I'm there?
Yeah. So it's funny how this happened. So like I really kind of came to the end of the remodeling job. I hated it. I know guys, they love their blue collar craft trade,
Some of that
and I
shit
respect
sucks.
them. But I've done electrician, carpentry, remodeling, built sunrooms, was a glazer, ranch hand. There's always something about it where I wake up at 5 a.m. and just stare at the ceiling for 20 minutes.
Going like, oh my, there's got to be a better way.
Yeah.
Look, I like doing all that stuff. I just don't like to do it for a living.
Yeah. It's framing's fun when it's like, your thing, but it's not fun remodeling bathrooms. I will pay somebody to do that the rest of my life. So
in other words, this was all kind of culminating to a point where you're just like, all right, I'm ready to get back to doing my thing. I've got what I need now mentally to go make this happen and be sober.
Yeah, and I've probably about almost a year underneath my belt. And what had happened is it's coming to its head. I wasn't liking my job. I wasn't liking anything.
It's just time.
And I felt like I wanted to come back to music. Like I was like, I'm ready to do this.
It served its purpose.
Yeah, and so.
And you came back stronger.
Yeah, and able to handle it all.
Yeah.
I mean, it was tough though. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of times I'm sitting on stage and I'm like, the anxiety and like some girls trying to like, hey, here's a shot,
oh, it looks so yummy. You're
I just passed off.
I don't know what it's like actually, because
but
it's got to be tough.
Yeah, and then you learn that you don't have to be a part of it. You're just there to entertain. You're there you're playing music and like just because people are drinking doesn't mean you have to drink. You can still enjoy people,
Mm-hmm. I've always commended people in the music industry that could do it sober.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. It definitely helps having the edge off in certain situations, but
it's such an anxiety-ridden profession.
Yeah.
And like so many things that are not within your control.
Yeah.
Right.
But I've learned to handle it better, But yeah, it was just like, so what happened is that it came to a head, and then I was like, I went. They made me do some BS hauling thing because the story of my life in the blue collar world is I'm the mule. Like
Yeah.
they tell me to lift heavy things. They
You
go
go
tell me
work.
to
You're
go
done with it.
unload things. They don't want to teach me anything because they just want me to be
What they think you're going to be best for, which is the
You're
just
like, you're
grunt work.
6'4", 240, man. Come on.
Yeah, got
yeah,
you.
yeah. Go haul all this crap.
It's got to come with a clause, though. I've had 4 surgeries.
Yeah,
I don't.
and
Well, it sounds like you were done with it, and it all just like
Mhm.
life, it all comes to a head, and things work out the way they're supposed to.
yeah, and what happened? I was sitting at a computer that day. I was like, screw this guy. I hadn't told him I quit yet, but I was just like, I need to find a way to get out of this. And all of a sudden, I get calls and texts from Nashville guys saying, "Hey, man, you want to come back and play
Yeah.
at Whiskey River, Lucky Bastards, and AJ's?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's do it."
Cool.
So for about 2 weeks, I split the carpentry job and the
going to
music
Nashville.
and doing music, and then I started getting back into sending emails.
And then it's like it's time.
Yeah, it took about a month to like accumulate a schedule, and then I was like, "All right, done." And it didn't feel like it didn't. I didn't really want to. Like, part of me was like, because I failed so badly the year before.
Yeah.
I was like, what if I just fail again? Like, what if all this shit just happens again? And I second guessed it, but in spite of myself, I went with it. And I felt like I remember it was like I was in a prayer meditation, and I was like, I could just live out here and just be a nothing. And
Yeah, but you have a passion for
yeah,
music.
and I feel like there was like, no, it's time. So
And you've been doing well. I've been following you on Instagram. You've got more gigs than you can shake a stick at, and you're making a living at it, which is
it's a dream.
I was
a
gonna
dream.
say that's a big
That's a dream,
that's an
man.
accomplishment, man. To be able to just get if you could just get by.
Yeah,
That's hard.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful. I mean, it's beautiful. And like, I moved to I found a cheap apartment in West Nashville, and next thing you know, I'm playing 7 to 8 shows a week. And just like that, just a blink of an eye. It was crazy how
Sounds tiring.
Yeah, it was it is.
Does sound
I don't do that many anymore, but when I first
you
got
had to,
there,
yeah.
I was thirsty. I was grabbing
Yeah.
the gigs. Anybody
You got to establish your network and stuff like
We
that.
talked about that
Yeah.
last week too, but I was doing that same thing, man. When I was first getting started, I was just
Hustle.
like,
You got
2 or 3 days. Sometimes I didn't care. Give me all of them. Just anything. Yes.
You have
The
to do
answer's
that.
yes.
Yeah.
And it weeds out a lot of the people that really just doing it because they think it's cool.
Yeah.
It weeds them out.
Yeah.
Or
you'll find your tenacity, or find out if you
That's
have
right.
it really quick.
Now, have you been in the studio recently? Are you doing anything?
man, I haven't.
Because you've been working 3 gigs a day.
Yeah,
There's
I'm
no time
trying
to go in the studio.
and I'm trying to work with this feller. I'm working with this feller, Mark Thornton, who used to play like guitar with Jerry Reed back in the day.
Oh wow.
He records a lot of solid artists. Like even Sierra Farrell used to live in his RV in the back of his house.
Oh, really?
He recorded the Time Jumpers.
Oh, been killing those guys?
Yeah, he recorded the Time Jumpers.
Ooh,
he used to do like a bluegrass album.
So you're working with him now?
Yeah, me and Mark are working together. But I'm just trying to come up with the funds so that we can go in the studio and do 2 days and just knock out as many songs as I can. It's just gonna be a 6-piece, and we're gonna go in there and
Track it live.
We're mostly live. We might do some dubbing, but Mark's got a really unique studio with some analog stuff and like some mic and hardware that gives you classic. It's very. It's a raw, clean sound.
Well, I'm looking forward to that.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
man.
I'll have to come up there and record. You let me in?
Man,
Yeah,
yeah. Mark will love you, man.
Let's do a duet album up
Let's
there,
do
man.
it.
They call
I like analog, man. Get an analog board. Get that work, man.
It's
Man.
a cool. So I'll show
Run
you
it back over
pictures
some
of it.
tape or something, man.
Mhm.
So, but let's talk about this. Wednesday, man.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
He's playing at the world famous Broken Spoke.
How wild is that? That's crazy.
That's crazy. Dude, I've been playing there for
crazy.
16 years, and it's tough for people just that have never played there or just coming from out of town to get in. So whatever you did a good job, man.
I don't know what I did because like when I played there last year, like I said, my voice went out. So like I thought Jenny and Mike were dumb with me.
Yeah.
Because like I called them and told them. I was like, oh, my voice went out. And they were like, just do instrumentals.
Yeah.
And so I sent her this long thing apologizing about it because I felt so bad.
Yeah.
And that was the night where I was dancing with my girlfriend in there. I did not get to appreciate the place because I was so distraught. Like I remember, 2 or 3 years ago, I was watching Honky Tonk Heaven on the documentary.
Documentary.
I
Yeah.
saw you on there.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, and that's a dream like place to play. And like
It definitely is. It's iconic.
oh my god! And it felt, and like when that happened, I felt like I was like, I'm never gonna play the Broken Spoke. It's all good. So, but when I started scheduling this tour, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give it another shot. And I texted Jenny.
It's cool, man.
and
Sometimes it's just the right place, right time. She got an email. It's amazing, and you're gonna do well. Matter of fact, I hope you come out tonight if you get a chance.
Yeah.
Because I'd like you to come sing a couple songs if your voice
Absolutely.
is up to it.
Yeah.
And we can tell everybody they need to come back tomorrow night to hear you, because I've heard your music and it's 100% right up the alley for people that want to come out and dance in a dance hall. I mean, you're not gonna have any problems.
Yeah, man.
You're gonna have dancers on the dance floor the whole time, so it's gonna be great.
And it's a good time to not have to play anything post 2000s,
Ah,
They don't want to hear that most.
Yeah,
Of
but I enjoyed shows. Some like in Nashville, you have to make money.
top 40. It's top 40.
Right.
You got to.
Another reason I moved to Austin is because I was in a couple bands not in Austin when I was in the military traveling, and it was like, yeah, you don't get the gig unless you. And this was back in 2003, 2004, and it was like, well, you need to see your set list. I mean, what are you playing? I mean, like, if you're not putting top 40 in, and I was like, I hated it. And that's so yeah. When I got out of the Air Force and moved down here, I was like, I'm never playing that. I'm gonna play whatever I'm playing. Now, don't get me wrong. If there's a top 40 song I like, I'll play it. I ain't saying I'm against any of it. I'm just saying I want to do what I want to do. I don't want somebody tell me, oh, you can't do this unless you do this. Well, I just ain't gonna do it. But I understand you guys in Nashville, you have to.
Yeah, and I mean, you have to, especially those night shifts. And in fact, we just lost our Friday night slot at Layla's because she was like, I need a more party band.
Yeah,
and I was like,
yeah.
Chattahoochee's not good enough anymore.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a little resurgence of that stuff, but still, most of the tourists coming in, they don't
I got
know what that is anymore.
I got real upset about it, but I realized
it don't matter.
I realized it's
don't make no.
I thought I was doing something right by like, hey man, we got steel guitar and Ray Price and Bob Wills and George Strait being played at 12 at midnight on Friday in Nashville. That's not. You don't get that unless you go to Roberts.
Yeah.
And it's
Roberts
just,
Western World, which is actually a great place.
It's a great place. Yeah. I find it hilarious that I'm playing at the Broken Spoke before I play at Roberts. Like what?
Yeah, you'll get in there.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Somebody's got to die for you to get a slot there.
Yeah, they get the slots locked down, man. Kind of like the Spoke. The Spoke's always had slots.
Yeah, I was
locked
waiting
down.
on you to die. That's how
everybody's waiting on me to die so they can get in on a Tuesday night.
Yeah, so I don't know what happened.
Bring in more tequila.
So I don't know what happened for.
Maybe he'll clock out.
I was just waiting, man. I was like, he's got to be older than he looks.
Oh man, it's true. I mean, a lot of these places they get their residencies, and it's one of those deals. But I'm glad you're playing the Spoke.
Yeah, man, that's exciting.
I can't wait for you to.
Really exciting.
Well, and I keep thinking today's Monday.
It feels like a Monday.
But we got the Broken Spoke tonight, and then tomorrow night at the Broken Spoke, it's Tanner Burch, and then what else I got going this week?
Thursday night at the
White Horse. So if
Western
you're in the
Express.
Austin area, you can go to the Spoke tonight, Spoke tomorrow, and you can go see the Western Express Thursday at the White Horse.
That's right.
And then Friday you can go to Temple and see me at Bo's Barn, and then you can come back to the White Horse on Saturday and see me at midnight if you're still alive. And when you got to go back to Nashville?
Thursday. And it's raining all day, so it's gonna be awful. And then I got 5 shows.
5 shows when you get back.
Yep, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I mean, no, Friday, Saturday, one on Friday, 2 on Saturday, 1 on Sunday, 1 on Monday.
Dang.
Yeah. What are the clubs? What's the name of the clubs?
So there's this new place that opened in the outside of Nashville, and I'm super pumped up about it. So outside of Broadway, called the Honky Tonk Creamery.
Honky Tonk Creamery.
Yeah, it's a ice cream shop /
live music venue.
Wow.
That might be one I could get my kids to go to.
Dude, it's a cool gig.
There you go.
I
Get some ice
actually
cream.
like, the room's nice. The people are nice.
Yeah.
You play what you want. You know, it's,
plus.
Great.
Yeah, they're really appreciative of good country music in
Yeah.
there. So I have 2 gigs there this weekend. Then I play at a boot store called Freebird.
Cool.
Yeah,
There's
it's
always
solo,
something to do.
solo, and then I play my Layla's residency on Monday. The Monday is still there, 2 to 6.
Yep.
So I'm there every Monday, and then Sunday is either at Alan Jackson's bar with the band, or it's going to be at Freebird again. So
One of them's going to work.
One of them's going to work. You know, it's a week by week. It's a bi-weekly basis with most of the Nashville gigs.
Well, Tanner, I tell you, the first time I met you, you came in the Spoke, and I saw you, and I go, that guy's a musician. I mean, we can see each other. And you and your girlfriend, y'all stayed the whole time.
Yeah.
We don't mess this microphone up, but y'all stayed the whole time. You listened. I was very thankful for that and appreciative that you guys actually stayed and watched us. And I was like, man, this guy would seem pretty cool. And then sure enough, you liked something or sent something on Instagram. I was like, I knew he was a musician. Yeah, I saw him. And since then, I've kind of followed you on there to see your stuff because, you know, you're down there on Broadway just hustling and hustling and hustling. I've got some more buddies down there that do that.
Yeah.
And I'm always kind of amazed by that lifestyle up there in Nashville, how hard you guys work. So I'm a little inspired by that as well, but I'm also a little at a loss of words for your struggle, and just thank you for sharing that story with us here on the deal and getting clean and sober and fighting through the different things that have happened in your life. You
Thanks
know,
for being an inspiration.
I'm not a counselor by any means, but I promise you that kind of stuff helps people out. Hell, it makes me more appreciative.
Yeah.
You know, I'll probably play a better show tonight. You know, and I mean that. But so very cool. I think the stuff you've persevered through and pushed through is pretty amazing. And like we said, it's inspiring.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
man, I'm glad you came down here and shared your story with us, man. This is cool.
I-
And I'm glad you got all these gigs when you came down, man. So you got to
Yeah.
kind of experience the Texas music type
Yeah.
scene a little bit. So
Yeah, Sagebrush, Broken Spoke. You know, I'm hoping, you know, hopefully we get in the White Horse one day. We just got Rain and JD. You know?
Yeah, man.
He's hard to get a hold
I
of
know.
sometimes.
But man, this is cool. I mean, I'm hoping to make this a more.
annual thing, semi-annual thing.
Maybe like I'm hoping a quarterly thing.
Yeah,
Like that.
you should. Well, your music fits right in with what you're playing and stuff like that. So he's, you know.
The scene, the way the reactions that I get here are like what I am trying to achieve. It matches up. Now Nashville is my work. Like that's, you know, for me that's like my
rent.
battle. You know, that's like my battle as well as trying to, you know, accomplish being successful there, because that's where the impact can happen. You know, you've seen it with like Zach Top and stuff like that.
Well, there's industry there.
Yeah.
That you need to make the contacts with. Well, you come back to Texas as much as you can.
Yeah, dude.
I
How
will.
about that?
Yeah.
We love having you on the show. Stephen Castillo, buddy, thanks for coming in. I
Glad
called
to
him
be
up
here.
like yesterday, I think it was. I was like, dude, I need you to help me with the show.
Glad to
And
do
he
it.
came, and you're going to do some more maybe.
I would love that.
Yeah, this is cool.
This is fun.
So we're glad to have this podcast with both Tanner and Steven. And I think episode 5 is our best one so far. So don't tell Eric that. Oh, Eric's going to listen. No, we'll have Eric back next week. We miss him very much. We know he's busy. And thank you guys, both of you.
Yeah,
Thanks
man.
to Phoebe and Gio for being here producing the show. And we'll get this stuff out. And Texas Music Lifestyle Podcast. Go tell your friends about it. We'll see you next week.